Hey everybody, today I'm going to go over the predictions that I have. What I think is going to come out in Bryan Kohberger's trial. Some of these things that you're going to hear are things I've never talked publicly about. I do think that many of these will come out in trial, given the clues I've seen along the way. But first, let me say thank you to my sponsor, June's Journey, but more on that later. So the first prediction that I have, I think it could come out that he had befriended Dylan or Bethany, one of the roommates, as a means to get close to the different roommates within the home and the dynamic, the comings and goings. I think there was some sort of a friendship forged. I don't know how deep the friendship went, but it will not surprise me if Bryan had befriended one of the two, which could completely explain why Bryan and his team insisted that Bethany Funk had exculpatory evidence. So my guess is he had been around the home. He had possibly come to see them. It could also explain why the cops were not immediately called when this happened. There was such a wait in terms of making that phone call to 911. So is it possible that maybe they knew each other? Time will tell. The detectives have had a huge undertaking trying to unravel this mysterious case. In a way, it's kind of like the game, June's Journey, where you have to find hidden clues and seek out exactly what these clues mean and piece them together. Today's video is sponsored by June's Journey. June's Journey is a free to download hidden object mystery game. June's Journey is a game where you become the detective and it's up to you to piece together the clues within the game. It takes you back to the glamour of the 1920s in a quest to solve June Parker's sister's mysterious murder. It's super relaxing, and I enjoy sharpening my observational skills while playing. You get to play a detective that travels around the world, discovering clues and solving mysteries in locales that I wish I could go to in real time. And you can customize your very own estate island. In each scene, you have to pick more and more clues to advance through the game, which I know my fellow sleuths will appreciate too. Discover your inner detective. Download June's Journey for free today on iOS and Android. Also on Facebook. To download game, link is in the description below. I think you'll really enjoy it. Thank you so much, June's Journey, for sponsoring this video. The next prediction I have, I think it's going to come out that the defendant sent something to the home via mail. Let me tell you why I get this impression. In December, I found this bizarre map. It was the layout of Moscow, and it was all these different landmarks. One of the landmarks was the mail. I was the mail that USPS listed as a landmark on this map. Within about 24 hours, I'd seen this interview with Kaylee's parents where they talked about having to sign some sort of disclosure to allow law enforcement to be able to open this piece of mail.
When was the last time y'all heard from the police?
Thursday.
Thursday, we looked at our phone records. We want to be accurate. We don't want to sell anyone out.
About 3 o'clock on Thursday.
And did y'all get an update from the police about the investigation?
There was nothing. We have no updates for you.
There was no update. They needed me to sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something.
Some mail.
That was mail related. So we're working with them. We're not selling them out.
So then once I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe that's why it was listed on that mysterious, very bizarre map. So I kind of filed it away as who knows for quite a while. And then when I was exploring the inside looking account, which was a Reddit profile, who a lot of people believe could have been Bryan Kohberger operating under the radar in these different Reddit groups, kind of giving his insight. And it was always very, very accurate insight, by the way. What you're seeing here is a printout of some of Inside Looking's posts. Here particularly it says Kaylee's parents signed waivers for PD to investigate something mail related. So I went back to this original thread in Reddit, and everybody that was posting there was speculating that, this was not a big deal, that there was nothing to be concerned about that was mail related. And as you can see here, Inside Looking remarks, more here than you think. I'll explain here in a moment why I think Inside Looking could definitely have been Bryan Kohberger. So that was my, third clue. the final clue that I can add to that I think is very weird is this filing, this motion that I saw. You tell me if you think it might have something to do with Bryan. On March 7th, 2023, there was an order to seal. And on the second to last page of this order to seal, to any peace officer authorized to enforce or assist in enforcing any law of the state of Idaho, Brett Payne, having given me proof upon oath this day showing probable cause establishing grounds for issuing a search warrant and probable cause to believe that the property referred to and sought in said premises consists of information related to the crime of homicide, to include, and then it says, any and all video that is recorded and stored on any delivery trucks that were in Moscow, Idaho, between the dates of November 6th, 2022 through November 14th, 2022. So this is 7 days before the murder and 1 day after the murder. So they know that it was in that targeted time frame that this was delivered, whatever it was, but it has something to do with the homicides. Located in or upon the following described premises: 615 North Grand Avenue, Pullman, Washington. So this must be UPS's main premises. And it says, you are therefore commanded to search the above described premises for the property described above, to seize it if found, and bring it promptly before the court above named. This warrant shall be executed within 7 days of issuance and is authorized for daytime service only. And then this is just so weird, okay? Because that date is the exact date I found that information in the map. December 2nd. So if you right now go back to my video, I believe I dropped that video on December 3rd or December 4th about the map. And I think I taped it like the day before. So whatever day it was, that was right at a time when nobody had heard that from the parents yet, talking about a piece of mail that needed to be opened. Okay, moving on to the next thing. I believe that possibly the informant that we started hearing about in February could be Bryan Kohberger's sister, though it might not immediately come out because the verbiage surrounding the whole informant thing.
So to the extent that information exists regarding an informant who is not going to be produced as a witness, including recordings or written statements of an informant, or that identify such an informant, such information is not subject to disclosure. And the state asserts informative privilege and prays for appropriate protective orders as necessary. An informant? I mean, should we assume there is one? Or is this just in case there is one? Help me sort through the import of that.
Well, when I first read that, Ashley, I was very convinced that there is an informant or informant information that is going to come forward. If there weren't, they would have simply addressed that they don't have any such information, and it would have been in the negative. But because it's worded this way, I think that there is some informant information.
So if it is his sister and it does come out, that's going to be really surprising. But at the same time, not that surprising, because she has known her brother since his life began. And she knew his behaviors probably just as much as the parents did. And one thing that comes to mind real quick is that, and I'll say this is a slight rabbit trail, but we've never seen his parents, I think, except through a written communication, come out and actually defend him. They've never gone to the media and said, my son didn't do this. This is not him. He would never, ever murder 4 people. But it could also be that they don't like being in the media. They probably appreciate their privacy, like most of us too. And I can understand not wanting to be involved in the media and have the spotlight shining on you and your family. I think Bryan comes from what seems to be like a very nice, very seemingly normal family. If he did carry out this quadruple homicide, it is going to be a stain on that family for forever. And we have to remember that sometimes people are born evil. I mean, how else do you explain a person like Bundy or BTK? There's just something wrong in their brains. And in this case, I believe that would have been what happened to Bryan. I do not fault his parents. I don't. I think they did everything they could. And sometimes we can only do so much as parents. And that's the most sad part about it. There's no guarantee. You can You can do everything right for your kids, and then they go out into this world and they still have to become who they're going to become.
Here you can see Brian's mother wrote in a Reddit group that she used to be in. And she says here, "Hello friends, today my 26-year-old son left for Washington State to begin his doctorate in criminology. We live in Pennsylvania. I probably won't be submitting many designs in the next few days because I will be too busy crying. I will see you all soon." And then she further states, "Thank you so much for saying that to me. My son will be in Pullman in the eastern part of the state, quite close to the Idaho border. He knows absolutely no one, and we have no family there. I worry about him being lonely, so your message made me feel better." So she really is a caring mother. I think she did everything she could possibly do right.
Okay, I think it's going to come out that he was operating that inside looking account I spoke on earlier, the Reddit inside looking account. Some of the things that make me believe that that could have been him so far is he was very adamant, very insistent that this was a one knife, one person crime, and that that one person carried out all 4 murders. He was insistent that the Hyundai was the murder vehicle. He was insistent that the shoe print was the killer's. He also said that the person driving the car had their hoodie up. He also insisted that it was not a frat boy at a time when we were focused. We had our eyes fixed on everybody that was close to their circle, the frat people, the sorority people, and in an insistent, persistent sort of way, inside looking account continued to say, "No, it wasn't them. Nope, wasn't them either. Cops cleared them. You guys have your eyes on all the wrong people. It's going to shock you who it ends up being." This user was also very confident that it was not Jack Decor. A lot of creators on YouTube thought that it had to have been him. But Inside Looking was confident there's no way it was him. He also insisted that the killer had no injuries. The next thing I think that will for sure come out in trial is that he was stalking them. I believe he was stalking them. He was going on campus to see them. I think the stories we've heard in the media that everybody has dismissed and said, oh, it's probably more BS. I think those stories will end up being more than likely pretty true, as in like 90% of them are going to check out and we're going to hear the testimony of those people. I also think it could come out that maybe, and this is again wild speculation, maybe he first found Maddie, because I think Maddie was probably the target here. I believe he first found Maddie online. And online, he became fixated, very much focused on her and her friend group. I believe this could have led him to go cross country to Washington, to move there. If we go with the possibility that he wanted to channel Bundy, Bundy was in Washington. Bundy started murdering, if I'm not mistaken, in Washington. I think he could have moved cross country to be closer to them. And very shortly after moving there, he may have started going to their work. He could have known that they worked at that particular place. Another thing that I think is interesting is this possibility of the pool party. So it's possible they could have also met at the pool party. Or it could even have been that he had his sights set on Maddie, and then in a happenstance, sort of synchronistic way, he may have run into them at that pool party. This is just my opinion. So after he moved cross country, potentially to be near them, I think he started following them even more online, tracking them, looking at the location, like geotagged. I would say that Maddie and Kaylee put out too much information, too much personal information onto social media. And that could have been how he tracked them. The night they were at that bar,
The Corner Club.
he could have been in there. He could have been watching them. Maybe they never even had interaction that night, but he watched them from across the room and could have figured out that it was going to be that night he was going to carry out his fantasy. I've come across some interesting posts that I believe could have been written by him. And one of the most interesting posts I found talked about the practice involved, the dressing up, dressing down practice and timing involved in executing these horrendous quadruple murders. I believe it took a lot of thought, a lot of planning, careful planning, and he decided on a day. Anyway, that's enough for now. Again, I thank my sponsor, June's Journey, for sponsoring this video. Visit the link below in the description to download the game. It's available on iOS, Android, and Facebook. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Hope you are doing well. Talk to you later.